So we discussed about Employee Central Master Data Foundation Master Data Workbook, where we can download the configuration workbook from Partner Edge, and this can be shared with the customer. Customer would be filling all the details. A configuration workbook, master data workbook consists of all the portlets or all the blocks of information which is used for employee profile. Similarly, we have other configuration workbooks in Employee Central. Within Employee Central, we have other configuration workbooks. They are your Foundation Object Workbook. Foundation Object Workbook is nothing but all the objects that are required for customer, like a company, a department. That also I think we have seen. Foundation Object Workbook also. Benefits is only required if you are implementing benefits in the EC module. HR transactions is required for every customer. Transactions are nothing but the actions that we perform on an employee. Like it can be a hire, it can be transfer, it can be promotion, it can be termination, it can be data change, suspension, and so on. Along with these transactions, if you need any kind of approvals, so you'll be adding all of that information in transaction workbook. So SuccessFactors gives us some standard events in the system like hire, transfer, termination, promotion, data change, suspension, paid leave, unpaid leave, and so on. So for these events, what are the event reasons that your customer want to have? Action reasons or the transaction reasons? And what is the logic that we need to apply? Now, if you see here, event reasons, what event reasons you want to have for each of the event? And event derivation meaning, when do you want system to trigger a promotion? What is a transfer? Can anybody tell me what is a transfer? What do we do in transfers?
Moving the employee from one place to another place. It can be a city
So
or country. That will
can
be
be
transfer.
city or country. Now,
Yeah.
what if we move an employee from one department to other department? It's also a transfer. What if
Okay.
you move an employee from one manager to other manager? It's also a manager. It's also a transfer. It's called
Transfer.
manager transfer. So different
Okay.
actions that we perform on an employee. Either it could be a change in the location, change in the company, change in a country, change in department, division, or no, a cost center. So all of these are considered as a transfer event reasons. Each one of it is a event reason. So for each event reason, when do you want system to trigger? So that logic you'll be applying. And what is a promotion?
Moving an employee from one level to the higher level.
Lower level to higher level is a
Yeah.
promotion.
Yeah.
And from higher level to lower level is a demotion. Right? So those things. So all of those events and the event reasons. Not every customer may need all of the events or all of the event reasons. So depending on their policies, depending on their procedures, we'll be configuring these events and event reasons. Along with the event reasons, we may also have to configure the workflows. Workflows are nothing but the approvals. If customer want to have 2 levels of approvals for transfer and 3 levels of approvals for promotion and 4 levels of approvals for termination, so you can mention all of those. And every time you configure a workflow, system also sends the notifications, email notifications. No? What should be the content for that email notifications? So that is mentioned here in email notifications. Okay. This is on the transactions workbook. Position management workbook. It is all about positions. We'll be discussing in the coming sessions. What do we maintain in the position? Then People Central Hub is a combination of your transactions and the employee data. So all of these workbooks, the combination is the People Central Hub. So we'll have to download these configuration workbooks and share it with the customer, explain them and ask them to fill these configuration workbooks. Once they fill and share it back, we'll be starting the configuration based on the requirements, based on the customer's requirement. Okay, that's on configuration
Yeah.
workbook.
Venu, what all like benefits as in what is covered in benefits? Like how do we segregate the regular requirement from benefits?
Benefits is employees, like it is related to for the employee payroll process. Okay. Now it could be any benefit that is given to the employee. It could be additional loans that are to be configured or additional reimbursement components that are to be configured. Okay. Any kind of
Mm-hmm.
housing elements benefit that is given to the employee. So all of these are considered under benefits.
Benefits. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
So in case if there is any benefits that is there, then that is configured in different, like same in the employee central, but that comes under benefits.
Benefits model, yeah, and that is not
Okay.
covered under your certification
Training.
also.
Oh, okay. Is that covered under our training?
No, it is not part of AC training.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
When one more question.
Thank
See, the configuration workbooks is a standard one, right? Standard
Yes,
HR
it is
operations
standard one.
module. If there is any
Yeah, it is.
customized operation has come up, so that workbook has to be created from our end, or how to go about it?
Now, what kind of configuration are you talking
For example, employee is moving from on-site to on-site and coming to offshore. So three areas he'll be working.
about?
So how is that? So we will be having two employee numbers.
Hmm. That's called
So that
global
globalization.
assignment or
Yeah.
yeah, concurrent employment. So that is
Yeah.
also part of your events and event reasons. If
Okay.
I open, let me show you what all comes under events.
And second one is employee would be participating in three to four projects with 30% of efforts.
The Employee Central Workbook itself, you have the pick list, which talks about the events that are available here. So these are 30 events which are available, out of which add global assignment, back from global assignment, away on global assignment. It's all part of the events. And for each of these events, they will have to specify what is the procedure for, for these transactions or the transaction reasons. They'll have to specify the logic here. Event reasons. Let's say for global assignments, these are the event reasons. For transfer, these are the event reasons. They'll have to specify this here and the derivation here.
So wherever
Okay.
any transaction happens, there we need to give the event and event reason.
Yes.
Okay.
Any change that you do related to the employment, system will always ask you the event and event reason. Now, if I
Mm.
have to show you that in the system, okay. If I take this if I take this employee, anything related to the employment is changed, then you need to give the date of effective date of the change, effective date of the change, and then event. What event is it? Position change, promotion, transfer, job change, job reclassification, data change, demotion, suspension, assignment, completion, and so on. So those are the events. And when you select the event, system will show the event reasons of that. When I select transfer, what transfer is it? Is it department transfer or location transfer or a division transfer or company transfer or country transfer or cost center transfer or manager transfer. So you need to choose those event reasons.
So even new event reasons can be added, no?
New events cannot be added in system. Events, whatever SuccessFactors has given, those 30 events, so those are fixed. You cannot add any new events. You can add event reasons for each of the events, but cannot add events. You
Reasons
have to
can be
use
added.
only
Event reasons can
reasons
be
can
added.
be added. Any
Given
number
true.
of reasons can be added. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. If something is not available, use data change. Data change as the event, and then under data change, you configure a event reason.
Okay.
We have one question. If
Yeah.
Thomas here, uh,
Yeah.
yeah, if we already have a system, S4 system with a lot of events, personal events we created,
Hmm.
and we are implementing SuccessFactor, how we going to sync these events if events is standard in SuccessFactor? Because there will be a number of events in personal events. Any scenario
So
like that?
no. What is your master data? Where are you keeping the master system? What is your master system?
Master will be SuccessFactor, but anyway, if it's ECP or S4 HANA, do we need to sync this
See,
actions
if
also?
the if your source data is maintained in SuccessFactors, so you will be using only these details, these events in the system. Okay. If you are using other than SuccessFactors system, you don't have to transfer the data to SuccessFactors system. Why do you want to use EC if you are maintaining master data in other system?
For Ariba and Conqueror and for ECP, the payroll need to run. So data need to be synced with S4 HANA.
Now, say if it is ECP, data again come. If you are using ECP Employee Central Payroll, that means you should have Employee Central implemented. When you are implementing Employee Central, you will have to configure this thing. That means your source system is SuccessFactors.
Okay.
Okay. See
Okay.
how do you want to use your system? That plays a major role. If you want to move data from SF to SAP,
Okay.
because all of your master data is in SF, then you will be using whatever details that you have in SF, you will be using that first here. You will be implementing that here, and then you'll transfer that to SAP.
Okay. So in this case, we need to
Now
specify,
you
inform.
will not you will not transfer SAP to SF.
Okay.
Master data is always SF. You will not in from SAP you can transfer it to SAP because if you are using payroll in SAP, or if you are using some other system in SAP. Okay, so the data flows from SF to SAP. So whatever that you have configured in SAP SF, that's the core data. From SAP to SF, you will not be moving the data. In this case also, maybe some few things like cost center, because cost center is maintained in finance system in SAP. So in that case, only cost center is moved to SF. All the other configuration we do it in SF, because your
Okay.
primary master data system is SF.
Okay.
If you
So
are using ECP, then SF EC to ECP.
okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So
because the
so
employee will
SAP
have to
is
log into
very good,
SF.
right? Okay.
Yes.
But any integration that is needed from EC to ECP, we don't have to do any
No,
configurations on that,
we
right?
don't do that. We don't do that anything in
Mm,
EC.
okay.
ECP consultant will be doing that. ECP is all about connecting your employee central system with the cloud payroll system. This is cloud
Mm,
payroll. Okay.
okay.
So you will be accessing ECP from EC, When you click on payroll, it will take you to another system, which is the cloud payroll system. So the EC data is to be transferred to cloud payroll system. So then there you'll have to do some point-to-point integrations. Call it P2P.
Okay, like when cloud payroll as in like we have it in success factor only.
Yes, ECP.
Okay, okay.
ECP is same as your SAP. All the screens are same. Whatever that you
Okay.
access PC00 underscore and so, right? Your transactions. All of those transactions remain same in ECP also. But only difference is ECP, you'll be using the system in the cloud, whereas the SAP, that's on premise. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for one question, Fenum, what are the events you are shown that has to be configured in SAP, right?
Yes. Now those events which you or customer want to have, not every event is to be configured. Maybe some customers may need only 5 or 6 events. So configure only, enable only those events. Hide the other events.
Okay.
I haven't seen any customer using all the 30 because some of them are specific to a country. Furlough is generally used in Germany. You don't use it in India or in US. Okay. Global assignment, not every customer uses global assignment. Okay, some customers may say that I don't want to use suspension. We don't suspend our employees. Okay.
So this we will be learning in future classes, no? When you
Yes.
like which are the
Yes.
specific country specific events and how to configure that.
Yes.
Okay.
All of these are standard which comes in the system. You'll see all of these events in the system. So how to enable or disable these events and how to configure these event reasons for each of these event. That we'll see.
Okay.
Okay. Now, new events cannot be created. That's your certification question. You can use the existing events. You can create event reasons. You can rename the events. Here, if it says transfer and you want to call it as something else, you go change the data and upload. Or no, you can do it on the system itself. You can change the event name.
Okay.
Okay. And
We
if
have to
you don't
use
want
the
something to be
existing.
used, you can hide them.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. We'll discuss more on the events in the coming sessions when we do our practical part. Next is on the kickoff template again, which is very important. Before you share the configuration workbook with your customer, okay, before you ask them to fill the configuration workbook, okay, you will need to explain them what is success factors, what do we have in success factors, right? Because you know about success factors, but customer doesn't know anything about success factors. You know about events, you know about or transactions that we perform, or you know about workflows, but customer doesn't know. So you need to explain the customer about success factors, and that explanation you will be doing it through kickoff template. So this PPT you will have to download. Again, this is standard PPT. You can modify few things like the logo of your partner, logo of the company. Okay. Now, who is speaking? You can add the speaker's name, the date and year when you're scheduling this. All of these things you will be changing Okay, now it gives you all schedule, like what you should be doing. Day one, you start with the introduction. Now these things can be changed, like timing you can change. Like you want to start your day with 9 a.m., 10 a.m. So it's up to you. You can change the dates. And then what is EC and a demo? How does it fit with other modules? So you'll have to explain about the success factors employee central here. Okay, now let's go and see what is available here. What is your role? What would be success for this project? What are you most nervous of, and what is unique to customer that might affect this project? Now, EC core. What do we have in EC core? The first thing that we set up in system would be your foundation data. Foundation data contains your org structure. Org structure is nothing but your company details, how your company is structured. Okay, so how many companies they have, how many locations they operate from, how many divisions, how many business units, or how many departments they have. So all of this comes under org structure. Now success factors gives you the standard structure like company. Under company you can have business units. Under business units you can have divisions, and under divisions you can have departments. These are org structure elements that we have in success factors. But if customer says, I want to have additional org structure elements like a function or a sub function or a sub department or an org unit, so these can also be configured as a custom objects, custom structure. Your job structure, how the jobs are classified in the organization. Each type of organization will have a different job structure and the pay structure. So what components you want to have, what pay ranges you have, what pay, no grades you have in your organization. So all of these things we should understand from the customer. Once you have all of this found, now this data is called foundation data. This data is called the foundation data. Once we set up all of the foundation data in the system, now we are ready to hire employees into the system using all of the foundation data. Okay. Now, while hiring the employee, you'll have to maintain lot of employee data. Now, here the employee data is split into two parts: personal information and job information. Personal information, within personal information, the data is split into two parts again: effective dated, non-effective dated. Same in job and employment information also, the data is split into two parts: effective and non-effective dated. Meaning, effective dated portlets. There are some effective dated portlets like the personal data, where you maintain the employee's name information, first name, last name, gender, salutation, marital status, and so on. So this is effective dated. Maybe at the time of joining, employee marital status is single. After 1 year or after 2 years, employee got married. So you'll have to go create another record on top of the existing record saying that the employee marital status is changed or employee's dependents are changed. Okay, the address details. So these are all effective dated. Now there are some portlets or some sections where you don't need to maintain the effective date, like your biographical information where you store the date of birth of employee. Now throughout your life you'll have only one date of birth. You cannot say that last year my date of birth was this and this year my date of birth is this and next year my date of birth will be changing. No. You will have only one date of birth which you want to change, you can go and change. Now, if HR has maintained a wrong date of birth and you want to correct it, you can go and correct it. But you will have only one record of date of birth. Your national ID information, like your social security, is a PAN card or Aadhaar card or a social security number. So these things you will have only one PAN card or one Aadhaar card. You cannot maintain multiple. Last year my PAN card was this year my PAN card data itself changed. No, you cannot say that. So anytime you open, you can maintain only one record. So that is, those are non-effective dated. Similarly, the job information will have effective dated and non-effective dated. Every time there is a change in the employment, first record is always a hire record. After hiring, you can transfer employee, you can promote employee, make data changes to the employee, you can suspend an employee. Employee can be on paid leave or unpaid leave, or you can terminate employee. After terminating, you can rehire employee. So these are all effective dated. Every record that we insert, we'll have to choose the effective date of that record. What is the transfer effective date? What is the promotion effective date? Or what is the termination effective date? So those are effective dated. Same thing in the compensation. When employee has joined the organization, employee salary was 1 lakh. After 6 months, employee salary is changed to 1,10,000. After 1.5 years or 2 years, employee is promoted and salary is changed to 1.5 lakh. So you will, if you go and look at the historical records of the employee, you will see all changes that we have done. When was the employee hired? What was the salary when the employee was hired? When was the first hike given to the employee? What is the last increment that is given to the employee? So all of these records exist in the system, and you can see it because those are effective dated. Wherever it is effective dated, you will find multiple records for the employee. If you see here, for this employee itself, we can see there are multiple records. This is the hiring record. Later, there is a change in employee data. There is a change in manager. This is the effective date. There is a change in the location. So this is the effective date. Similar, this is effective dated. Wherever you see effective date, you'll see it as effective as of. Okay. Now, each of these sections or the portlets contains the standard fields. All of these fields, what you see, these are standard fields: job code, job title, pay grade, regular temporary, standard weekly, as pay scale type, pay scale area, employee class, employee type. These are all standard fields. SuccessFactors gives you a lot of standard fields in each of these portlets. But again, if your customer want to have their custom or specific fields, like I want to maintain blood group in personal information, and this is not available in standard. So I can go create a field, name it as blood group, and give the option of choosing the blood group from the drop down. So you'll have to maintain all the drop down values, what blood group values you want to show. Or you want to leave it as an open text so that user can maintain. Yes, you can leave it as a text field. Okay, so that's a custom field. So you can configure the custom fields in any of these portlets. These are all called portlets or blocks. And each of the change that you do in the job information, the conf information, you should have the events and event reasons. Events are your transactions that you perform an employee. So what events you want to have and what event reasons. Along with the events and the event reasons, you can also configure a workflow. Who should be the approver when you transfer an employee? How many approvers you want to have when you promote an employee? So these things can be configured. Any number of approvers can be configured. It can be 1 level, it can be 2 levels, it can be 3 levels, 4. There is no limitation. You can configure n number of approvers. Along with approvers, you
Vinay,
can also have, yes.
sorry. So the effective dates will be, sorry, the event and event reasons will be added to only the effective dated transactions or even
Yes.
non-effective dated transactions.
Events and event reasons are only used in job and comp information, only these two portlets. Personal information, you don't use any event.
Okay. Okay.
Now, if I go to this employee, personal information doesn't contain any event. It is a effective dated portlet. You can go insert a new record, but it doesn't contain event and event reason. It is only change in the data. Okay, that's called personal information change. That's it. Every time you change some data, it gives you the change as personal information change. Events and event reasons are only part of job and comp information. Only in the employment details you'll be using events and event reasons.
Okay.
Okay. And then in the workflows, can configure approvers, CC roles, and contributor roles. We'll be talking in detail of each of these things in the configuration in the coming sessions. And then all of these portlets or sections that we configure, okay, that's called the people profile. It's called the people profile. In the people profile, you can divide this information into different sections like personal information, job information, comp information, talent related. So you can split all of these portlets into different sections. And all of these sections or subsections or portlets, you'll see it as part of people profile. If your customer feels some information is not available in SuccessFactors system, we can also configure the custom portlet. You can also configure a custom portlet. Like they want to track all the vehicle movement or how the employee is commuting to office, or they want to track the medical fitness of the employee. So medical fitness, we don't have any portlet called medical history of the employee. Or they issue uniforms to the employee and they want to track how many of them, how many uniforms have been issued, when was this issued. So you want to track those details. So there is nothing like uniform maintenance. So you can create them as a field here in any of the portlet, or you can also create a custom portlet. You want to have a separate portlet to store these details, you can create that as well. Okay, that will also be part of your people profile. You can see them as part of the people profile. The entire page, what you see here, this page shows you all information about the employee. You have some under employment information, some under compensation information, some under payroll, time, benefits, salary benefits, talent profile, and so on. So all of this information is part of your people profile. Now you can add custom fields to the portlets, or you can also add custom portlets to the people profile. Okay, that's your EC core. And then there are optional additions like your time off, where you maintain your attendances, different types of attendances, different types of leaves. Okay, so how the employee can apply, how the leaves are to be accrued. So all of that you will be configuring in the time off. Your timesheet, if employee works on multiple projects and you want to track the time spent on each of the project, you can use timesheets. Then you have global assignments. Customers with their operations in different countries can use global assignments. When you move an employee from one country to other country, so you'll have to create the add assignment. Concurrent employments, multiple employments within the organization. Okay, if employee works for a multiple employments, like 4 hours employee will be working as a finance manager and 4 hours employee will be working as a HR executive. So two different jobs. And then contingent workers, it's all about the contractors. These are the optional additions. If required, now any of these things can be configured along with EC. Okay, and this is also part of your people profile.
Do you know what is contingent workforce?
Contingent workforce is all about the contractors. If you are hiring
Okay.
contractors on a contract basis, you'll have to issue them work orders, right? Which
Okay.
contains the details like what is the start date of that work, what is the end date of that work. After that period, you will have to terminate the contractors. Contractors are taken on no contractual basis only for a certain time. Regular employees, you don't define the end date. Some employees can belong with the company for 5 years or 10 years or 15 or 20 years. No, you don't have the end date there. But for contractors, you'll have the start and the end date.
Okay.
Okay. So in short, in Employee Central, we'll be discussing about the foundation structure, define the org structure, job structure, and the pay structure. Once we configure these foundation objects, now we'll also see how to import this data. Like if you have to upload 1,000 positions, or if you have to upload 100 locations, or you'll have to upload 40 departments. So you'll be doing that here. Once the foundation object is set up, you go define the employee data. What fields you want to see in each of the portlet, and what are the custom portlets you want to configure. What events and event reasons that the customer want to use. If you want to rename some of the events, if you don't want to show up some events, you can go and hide the events. Okay, and then the workflow. Along with the events and event reasons, you can also configure the workflows. RBP, which is role-based permissions. Once you have all of the employee data maintained, you need to tell the system who should have what access. Whether you want to give employee edit access or view access, or you don't want to give any, or you don't want to show up any data for the employee. So all of that is defined in the RBP, role-based permissions. Then you have different administrative functions like data imports, mass changes, workflows, themes. You can also change the themes. Now, here you see SuccessFactors. When you log in, you see a different border, see a different logo, see a different picture in the background. Now, this is common for every customer, but if you want to change the backgrounds, you want to change the logos, you want to change the content, you want to change the text. So all of these things can be changed in the themes. Any mass changes that they want to do, it could be a transfer, it could be promotions, it could be bulk terminations, it could be bulk hiring. So you'll have to train the admins or the HR team to do mass changes in the system. How to hire an employee, how to do bulk hire in the Employee Central. Okay, so this you'll be covering as part of Employee Central demo. Any doubts here?
Venu Thomas here. Time sheet and time off are also part of the Employee Central, right? What we discussed right now.
What does it say?
Why time off and time sheet? Down option. Okay.
What is this? Optional
Optional.
additions.
Okay, okay.
Employee Central, if you look at the course content within the certification also.
Okay. The global concurrent everything which comes under optional. Okay.
Yes, all of these are optional additions. You see here, topic areas. Your certification also, approvals for self-service, which is workflows, HR transactions, which is all about the events and the event regions, employee data, okay, it is on the master data of the employee, workflow configurations, event reasons. Now these are scenario based. These two are scenarios. Scenario means 10 questions you will get in approvals, 10 questions you will get in transactions. Other than this, you'll get some common questions or the standard questions in workflows and the event reasons. Business rules, where you define the logics Okay, and then your foundation objects are the generic objects, the data models. Security, which is RPP. So all of these things we'll be discussing. These are your EC core data. And these are additional requirements of the customers, additional options in the EC.
Is this covered in our training, like global
No, time
assignment?
off is not covered. So the core EC itself, it takes 25 sessions to complete. And then you have the time off, which takes around 15 to 20 sessions. Time off and timesheet.
No, not time off and timesheet, like concurrent, yeah, contingent
No, even
workforce.
concurrent is not covered. Concurrent
Okay,
again, concurrent is a separate module itself, or which is part of EC. Now you'll find the implementation guide also. You'll find a different implementation guide for concurrent, different implementation
concurrent.
guide for global assignments, different implementation guide for contingent workforce.
Okay.
Okay. And then let's go to the activate methodology. So every application, when implemented for customer, we use a different methodology. We use different methodologies of implementation. For success factors, SAP recommends us to follow the activate methodology. It is called the activate methodology. So what do we have in activate methodology? Earlier, we were using a methodology called BizExpert methodology, but now we have moved to SAP activate methodology. This may be same for SAP modules and also for success factors. Now, SAP, we are calling it as ASAP methodology, right? Accelerated SAP methodology. Here, we use activate methodology. So what are the steps that we have in activate methodology? The entire implementation is split into 4 parts: prepare, explore, realize, and deploy. In the prepare phase, you will start interacting with the customer. Okay, firstly, project manager will define the timelines. What modules are to be implemented? When are we going to start the kickoff? And when are we doing the testing? When are we going live? So all of the project timelines are defined by project manager. And who would be part of this project? Who would be working? Which consultants would be working on this project? How many consultants do we need? What is the scope of the project? What is the size of the project? And how many consultants we need in the project? And then the consultants will start interacting with the customer. They'll go sit with customer, explain about success factors, and get the requirements from customer. Start getting the requirements from the customer. Once you get the requirements, you may find the lot of gaps between the requirements and your actual availability. Now, few things, maybe success factors doesn't have the functionality or doesn't have feasibility of configuring it in the system. So how are you going to fill those gaps? Okay, you need to identify the gaps between your customer's requirement and the actual availability of the functionality in SuccessFactors system. And how do you start off your configuration? What you want to do in the system? Okay, so that is your explore phase. Once you have defined all the configuration tasks, you will start configuring in the system, that is in the realize phase. You'll start with your developments in the development system. You test it, you do the unit testing, move it to quality system, ask the customer to test. That's your configuration and walkthrough. And then as part of the testing, you'll have to migrate some data. You'll have to give some data to the customer to test, right? So you'll be migrating the data. So get all the data from your legacy system and upload into success factor system, quality system. Your customer will start testing the system. They'll do hiring, they'll do transfer, they'll do promotion, they'll check on the workflow, they'll check on the content that is being triggered, they'll check on the securities that are assigned to the employees. So all of these things will be tested in the realize phase. And then once they confirm, once they give the sign off, which is UAT, once the UAT is completed, you will have to deploy all of these changes to the production system. That's when we call it as a go live. You'll have to see what configurations are to be moved and which sequence these configurations are to be moved. That we do it in the cutover. Oh, if you look at broader picture like where to start and where to end. Your project starts here. What do? Project management is throughout the project. You setting up your systems, how many systems you want to have, 3 instances or 4 instances. What do you want to call them as what do you want to call them as development, quality, production and pre-production, or projects, or test systems. So all of that is your provisioning. Executing will do the gap analysis. Okay, solution designing is done here. And then the actual configuration is done in the realize. Configuration testing is done in the realize. And then we'll move the data to production system, and that is called your deploy. Again, each of these phases are explained in detail what we do. And when doing the testing, we follow the 3 iteration methodology here. 3 iterations. Now, iteration means the activities that we do starting from configuration workbook, filling of configuration workbook. Customer fills the configuration workbook. Customer shares it with the consultants. Consultant will have to configure the system, test the system, and ask customer to test. Customer would be testing and giving their feedback, whether to make any changes in the system. So the entire process is called one iteration. We will have to complete all of these things in the maximum of 3 iterations. So first time when we do the configuration, because customer has not seen the actual system or customer has not worked on the actual system. So first time when they test, they realize that there are a lot of things in success factors which can be maybe hidden or which can be added to their requirements. Okay, so they come up with a lot of changes in the iteration 1. So all of these changes again they'll have to track it in the configuration workbook. Again, reconfigure it, retest it, and then again give their product feedback. So in these 3 iterations, you should make sure that the entire configuration or entire requirements are covered. Okay, so what do we do in each of the iteration is, iteration 1 is called the define phase, where your foundation data, most of the foundation data is set up. Now your foundation data, you will not change a lot in second or third iteration. Generally, we go get the requirement of the customer in the foundation data, like your org structure, job structure, and pay structure, how many departments they want to have company or how many locations they operate. So all of these are freezed maximum in the first phase itself, define phase itself. Any new departments or locations, any naming conventions are to be changed. So that we'll be doing it in the refine phase. But we'll have all of the foundation data ready in the first iteration itself. Employee data also, because customer has already filled the employee data configuration workbook, which we have configured in the system. But while testing it, maybe they have seen some additional fields and they want to maintain that for their employees also. Okay, or some things which they feel that is not required, so you can hide them. Okay, so that's why it says agreed employee data is 60%. In the define phase, we will not be doing any workflows. You'll just tell them that we can have workflows in any process change, like personal information change or event changes. Whenever some event changes happens to the employee, we can have workflows. We'll just explain them here in the define phase. So that's why it says 10% with some test data. And the iteration 2, which is the refine, because most of it is defined here, and we just reprocess or refine the data here. Foundation data will be completing 100%, employee data will be completed 100%. Okay, and role-based permissions will also be configuring here role-based permissions. That means different customers will log in and see how the system looks. Now, when an employee logs in, employee should be able to do only, employee should only be able to view or edit their own data, not others' data. When a HR manager logs in, HR should be able to view and edit others details also. So all of this testing will be doing as part of RBP here in the iteration 2. And the third iteration is called the finalize. Now, all of this data, your foundation, employee data, RBP, workflows, all of these are to be set up completely here. And who is responsible for each of these things is defined here. This one. Iteration 1, define responsible, the configuration workbooks responsibility lies with the customer. Okay. And then wherever you see SAP, it is implementation partner. Because this document is prepared by SAP, it is showing as SAP. Now, when you share it with the customer, you can have your implementation partner. Let's say you're working for Deloitte and you're implementing from Deloitte. Say, maintain here as a Deloitte. And the customer, let's say you're implementing for the Coke. So say Coke, Deloitte, Deloitte, Coke. Okay, you can make these changes in the system. Any doubts here?
When this details about this full details, whatever standard documents in available in the kickoff this document or any other document?
Now this is the document which I have downloaded now from partner. It's right in front of you. Only have downloaded this.
Kickoff document available.
This document.
Okay.
This one, kickoff deck. This is downloaded just now from the system.
Okay. Okay.
I have not made any changes here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay. Any other doubts? We'll be coming back to kickoff PPT again when you start the configuration, probably day after tomorrow, or day after tomorrow. Okay, we'll be talking about foundation data. When we talk about foundation data, again, each of those foundation data or employee data is explained in detail here. Okay, which will come back again.
Venu, one question here. Are we going to cover data migration as a part of this training?
Yes. As part of imports. Imports is part of your Employee Central course content. Okay. So we'll see how to migrate the data. Now, migration of data in the sense, we don't download the data from SAP and upload it in the SF system or download the data from SF and now upload it in the SAP. No. We'll see how to upload the data, be it employee data or the foundation data. Okay. Migration of data in terms of integration, that we'll not see. So how to integrate your SuccessFactors system with other system and how to move the data from between the system, that we'll not see. That will be done by your integration consultant. EC consultant will not do that.
So I was referring to, how can we upload the legacy data to PC?
Yes, that we'll see.
Thank you.
That's part of the EC, imports and exports. Okay. Now, any kind of configuration doubts that you have, any kind of issues that you face while doing the configurations, you can create a ticket with SAP using Launchpad. There's a portal called sap.me or me.sap. So earlier we were calling it as Launchpad, support.launchpad.sap. Okay, now they changed it to me.sap. Okay, now this is called a Launchpad, where you can go and see if there are any documents available. Now, any issue that you are facing while doing the configurations, you can go and check for the knowledge base articles first. We call it KBS, knowledge base articles. You log into Launchpad and search for the knowledge base articles. Before you create a ticket, first search for the documents, any available documents. Because every time SuccessFactors founds issue, the configuration issues, they document it and they place it in the me.sap. You can go download the document and see if that resolves. Now, if you feel that the issue what you are facing is not available in the documents, so you can create a ticket with SAP. To log into Launchpad, you need SUser ID. Here, you will be using the customer SUser ID. Every customer that you work for, they will also be giving you the SUser ID. This is different from your partner ID. You can log into Launchpad using partner ID also, but you will not be able to create a ticket for a particular customer. General queries you can raise with the partner ID, but customer specific tickets, if you want to create, then you will have to use the SUser ID of customer. So you'll have to request your customer to share the SUser ID. They will be giving you a SUser ID. With that SUser ID, you can log into Launchpad or me.sap and create tickets, because when you log into Launchpad, system will give you, now you'll have to choose in which instance you're getting the issue. Is it dev, is it quality, or is it production? So these options you will only see if you are logged in with a customer. When you log in with SUser ID of the customer, you will see only the instances that are configured for that customer. And you'll have to specify what is the issue. Okay, if possible, you can also add attachments of the screenshots or of the configuration that you have done. Then SAP would be responding you to that. So within SAP tickets, you have like priorities like very high priority or high priority or medium priority and low priority. If it is very high or a high, then you need to give the business justification as well. Why do you want to consider it as a very high? If some process is stopped, when users are unable to log in, the SAP system is stopped, then you'll have to create a very high priority. Now it's a general configuration issue. You're doing it in the development or a quality system, you are getting some issue, you can have it as a medium or the low priority tickets. Okay. Clear on Launchpad? So we'll stop it here for today and we'll continue tomorrow.